Welcome to the Best You discussion. Be sure and like our Facebook page. It's important to us. You can also find us on our YouTube channel, the Best You discussion. The link, if you have difficulty finding it on the YouTube, the link can be found on our August 3rd Facebook post on the Best You Facebook page. If you want to receive our bi-monthly blog, just send me an email at bestyouguru@yahoo.com. The previous blogs can be found at our website, bestyouguru.com. Best You is our business, and we depend upon you. We don't sell ads. We don't have sponsorships. Everyone we recommend on our discussions are from the heart. And you can help us by sending $7 to $10, a donation, to Venmo at Robin-Shivery, or you can use PayPal. Just use PayPal via PayPal, send it to bestyouguru@yahoo.com. Let's get some last week's questions. Why should businesses be regulated? Is that not against free enterprise? No, it's not. Free enterprise is about ensuring a level playing field for all businesses and all people. We need regulations to ensure fairness. That is what Adam Smith spoke of in Wealth of Nations. When you buy a hamburger, you don't want to get poisoned. You expect a good hamburger, not rotten meat. You expect to go to a doctor that's been educated and trained, that has a medical license. Electricity. When you plug something in, you expect it to be between 105 and 125 volts. If it's 50 volts or 600 volts, it'll blow your appliance up. We expect regulation. We expect safe water. This is what regulations do. So regulations are required of free enterprise. Second question, how can I raise my credit score? Well, there's several things you can do to raise your credit score, and one of them is your usage of your credit line. If you have a credit card, let's say, that has a credit limit of $10,000, and you use $9,900 of that credit line, then you pretty much maxed out your credit line, and there it'll lower your credit score. If you have a $50,000 credit line and you use $5, you haven't utilized much of your credit line, and thus it helps your credit score. Another thing you can do is pay your bills early or on time. That is critical. Late bill payments really damage your credit score. Make sure your debt to equity ratio is low. And the number one thing you can do is monitor it. Another question. Why should a UBI, which is a universal basic income, be given to people who do nothing? Well, I'd question whether or not people do nothing. The roads, schools, the very media that we utilize, the internet, water filtration systems, taxpayers paid for them. And companies use these services. So when you say people who do nothing, that's not true. They paid for the roads that the businesses use. They paid for the water the businesses use. So they really didn't do nothing. And really, if you owned a business, a hamburger shop or a donut store, do you really care where your consumer received their money as long as it was legal? You didn't ask the child coming in to buy a donut where they got their money. They may have not earned that allowance. People who inherit money don't necessarily earn the money, and yet they spend the money. So when you look at it, the universal basic income, people earned. They built the roads through taxes. So it's earned money. Evidently, we caught some attention with the universal basic income. Question is, isn't a UBI socialism? No. The universal basic income is basically a proposal to have corporations pay for data. And you created your data. You are the means of production. You are getting paid for what you produced. And companies make money from what you produced. So it is your data that funds the universal basic income. So it's not socialism. Let me define socialism for you. Socialism is a system of government where the means of production are socially owned. Some may say owned by the government. What is produced that funds the UBI is produced by you, not the government. So a UBI is not socialism. In fact, I could make the case that Adam Smith would encourage a UBI because it generates a stronger middle class. Tonight is the fifth and final in our financial therapy series, and we appreciate all your comments and your questions. Evidently, the finances and the economy is really on everybody's mind at this time. But let me warn you, Americans are playing a financial game with rules they really don't understand. We are taught, the majority of us are taught, that to work hard, get an education, and then we retire. We are taught the 40, 40, 40 rule. And it doesn't work. Working 40 hours a week for 40 years, retiring on 40% of your pay, is no longer a formula that works, if it ever did. But it sure doesn't today. You know, in 1995, Jeremey Rifkin wrote a book called The End of Work. In 1998, Spencer Johnson wrote a book entitled Who Moved My Cheese? They warned us of what was coming, and millions of Americans remain apathetic about their future. I suggest reading both books by Rifkin and Johnson. Again, that's The End of Work and Who Moved My Cheese? You know, it's difficult to live authentically if you maintain a focus on making money. Money is only a tool. Let me repeat that. Money is only a tool. Don't focus on the tool. Focus on what the tool provides. Focus on the goal. The tool itself provides nothing. It is a means to an end. When you hit the nail on the head, you use a hammer. Now, are you focusing on the hammer or the nail? The hammer is the tool. Focus on the nail. Children know this. You know, a child can tell you exactly why they want to be rich or why they want money. As adults, we lose that honesty and we focus on the money. I have spoken with over 1,000 kids, and not once has a child told me they wanted more money to increase their bank account. They wanted more money just to have around. Children will be specific. They don't want their electricity turned off. They want new clothes. They want a new bike. Or they want to have food for dinner. Do you realize in our country today, 25% of Americans face food insecurity? 25% of the wealthiest nation in the world, 25% of our population faces food insecurity. As adults, we forget such things. Stocks are up. Wall Street's great. But children are concerned about their next meal. It's time to check our values. Today's topics: are inflation, deflation, tariffs, jobs, and the economic future. Inflation is very simple. Inflation is too much demand and too little supply. People are buying stuff. Now, the cure for inflation is raise interest rates. And what raising interest rates does is it takes money out of the economy, and people's purchasing power is reduced to the level of supply. It's that simple. That's what inflation is. Too much demand, too little supply. The second topic, deflation. Too little demand and too much supply. People buy less. Consumer confidence is low. Too long of a period of this deflation will produce a period of falling prices, which will develop a consumer mindset of, why buy it now? Because if I just wait a little bit longer, it'll be cheaper in the future. Companies then will invest less in research and development, in new plants, new machinery. They produce less, and even they may think about moving to a different country where it costs less to produce. And the cure for deflation is lower interest rates. Reason why? This puts money into the economy. However, lower interest rates produces debt. People will borrow money because the interest rates are low. And oftentimes, they'll borrow money based upon their belief that the economic future is brighter. The question is, how much debt are we the people comfortable with? The cure for this, the debt, the cure is often worse than the deflation, because the cure sometimes of low interest rates will produce recession or even depression. The third topic is tariffs, one of the most misunderstood economic policies in our country today. Tariffs are used to restrict imports by increasing the goods and services from another country. It's that simple. Now, there's two types. There's a fixed fee or an ad valorem tax, and the ad valorem is a percentage of the value of the item being imported. Now, political leaders do this to raise revenues or protect the domestic industries. Sounds logical, but today it's mainly used as a political tool. It can be used by a politician to appear tough on foreign competitors, or to protect our industries because they're protecting American jobs. But really, what it indicates is a lack of negotiating skill. Tariffs were put into place at the beginning of our country for a very good reason. George Washington signed a bill that placed a 5% tariff on all imports. Now, why would he do this? Well, you have to have it in historical context. There was a war going on, a revolutionary war, a big deal. But the thing is, wars are expensive. Funding a military is expensive. I mean, if you look at our own budget today, we spend more on our military than we do feeding our people, than educating our people. Militaries are expensive. Are they necessary? Different argument, but they're expensive. However, funding a military without any balances or checkpoints can destroy a country. Rome is a classic example of a military that bankrupted a country. But our founders had a revolutionary war that they had to fund. And they made several flaws, but one flaw they made when declaring our independence was our new endeavor was expensive. And it could be expected, the flaws, because this has never been done before. I mean, a people with inalienable rights. Our Constitution says we are endowed by our Creator with a certain inalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. A people that granted rights to the government. Our country is an experiment to form a more perfect union. That's a great plan. It's a great experiment. But there's one major and could have been a fatal flaw when they formed our government. There was no way for the federal government to collect taxes from the state. There was no way to fund the war. They could ask money from the states, but really, that's not a really good way of operating a war, is to ask for money. Our founders had to find a way to determine how to fund this war. So what they did was they placed a tariff of 5% on all imports. And that's how they began funding the war. It was a 3-page document. Now, tariffs, what constitutes the book on tariffs, is over 3,000 pages. We have a plethora of taxes now. We got taxes on everything. But the tariffs have not gone away. We figured out how to fund wars, but the tariffs remain. For me, in my opinion, tariffs are nothing more than a tax on the consumer. It's just another way of normalizing what really doesn't need to be there. Because when we put a tariff on imports, it is you and I that pay for that increase in productivity. Economists debate whether it's a good or bad thing for our economy. And see, I just find tariffs more a political device in today's global economy. So that's the third topic, tariffs. Whether it's good or bad depends upon you. I just find it a tax. There are some that say it protects jobs. I don't find any evidence that it protects jobs over the long term. What it shows me is a lack of negotiating skill. Fourth topic, jobs. Very interesting. Get ready and sit down, because companies, businesses, corporations, they don't create jobs. Now, I know people out there now are a little confused and some are upset. Companies don't create jobs. Demand creates jobs. And it is we, the people, that create demand. It is the people that spend money that create demand. No demand, no jobs. The 95% of the population create the demand, not the 5%. It is a middle class that drives a capitalistic economy. We, the people, create the demand for products and services. The economic elite, that top 1 to 10%, can only purchase, and they can only buy, they can only own, they can only drive so many cars. They can only own so many houses, so many clothes, and other items. It is the rest of us, it is that 95% that create the demand that drives a capitalist economy. Companies use you and me to meet the demand. And that's fine, because that creates jobs. The people must determine whether they want an economy that is corporation-focused or people-focused. Capitalism is people-focused. The demand is created by we, the people. We create the jobs. Now, neoliberalism, which currently a lot of people confuse with capitalism, is corporation-focused. And if you really want to help our economy, pay attention to what politicians and financial pundits talk about. What do they speak of? Where do they put their focus? Do they talk of the health of the people? Do they talk about the well-being of the people? Because that is the focus of a capitalist economy. Or do they talk of the stock market? If they talk of the stock market, that is a neoliberalism economy. Don't be fooled. The stock market is not the real economy. You and I, the people, the 95% are the real economy. That's where we live. And number 5, the future. Which way will our economy turn after the coronavirus experience? That's the trillion-dollar question. That's the question I receive the most. Harry, what do you think the future brings? I don't know. The economy may remain as it has for the last 35 years, very stable with low inflation. But we have a generation of people who've never experienced high inflation or deflation. We have an entire generation of people who've never experienced what we're about to experience. So whether we can handle it or not, I don't know. Because right now we have historically high debt levels, high unemployment, political posturing trade wars, a disappearing strategic alliance with the global partners, a climate requiring our undivided attention, and so many other issues. Our future, our economic future, really depends upon we the people. We will determine more than any other time in our lifetime, and maybe any time in our history, where we go. We are facing, right now, today, we are facing the results of some pretty poor economic decisions recently made. Our economy, our country, needs us. Now, Best You has a mission of informing the people on their authentic identity and enlightening them to the unique greatness within each of us. Our financial therapy series for the last 4 series has been a brief review of economy and economic terms, financial theories, and how it relates to you living the best you. We did not concern ourselves with the issue as how to make the most money, because I really find making the most money is not relevant to the authentic you. Our concern is you and living the authentic greatness within you. Some people can do that on $25,000 a year, while other people can make $10 million a year and never find their authenticity. So our focus is on you. If making more money is your primary concern, I don't think you're going to be very happy in the long run. You got to make money to survive. You got to make money to eat, to buy the clothes, to live well. But happiness, as Robin taught me today, is a good hug when somebody needs it. Happiness is, as Ray Dalio says, is meaningful relationships and meaningful work. One of the richest men in the country today, who's been broke and then rich and broke again, will tell you that money is not going to bring you the happiness you seek. Having enough to live authentically is the key. If you have any more issues on financial matters, please email us at bestyouguru@yahoo.com. If you need specific answers to financial questions, you may find the Fifi Finance website. It's FIFI Finance website. Very informative. It's specific to certain issues, and they're very brief videos and instructional learning. The site is not related to Best You. They have no idea I'm recommending them. I don't know them. I just know their site. But they have some really good issue-specific videos that could help you for specific reasons. Now, our financial therapy series has discussed credit scores, free riders, universal basic income, the UBI, capitalism, neoliberalism, paying yourself first, regulation, taxation, Adam Smith. And by the way, if anybody tries to preach capitalism to you and they don't know who Adam Smith is, they don't know capitalism. Money is a tool, changing your view, the womb lottery, the two types of money, income and wealth, fiat currencies, 401ks, value investing, growth investing, financial statements, inflation, deflation, tariffs, investing and job creation. And most importantly, the future economy. And that depends upon you. So let me hear from you if you would like to speak more on these, if you would like to hear us discuss more of these issues. And if Robin has any questions, she can ask me now about any financial issues, because we're here to discuss them. But remember, finances are only a method to get you somewhere. It's a tool. We don't believe money makes a person great, and in fact, it can bring out the worst in people. But money does help us eat. Like we said before, money's a tool. Learn how to use that tool. So now let's practice some capitalism. The key to capitalism, the key to a strong economy, is you and I. So what I want you to do now is I want you to understand and appreciate and learn more about Getting Basted. A friend of mine owns a company called Getting Basted. I want you to look at them on their Facebook page. If you want to learn about some of the best barbecue in this country, award-winning barbecue, an entrepreneur, people that make our country great. Politicians don't make us great. It is friends and family helping one another to achieve their best. So Getting Basted is the best barbecue you could possibly ever want to eat. Look at their Facebook page. Tammy's been a friend for decades, and she's very, very special to me because she was a good friend of my son, and I'll always remember that. So Getting Basted.
Where do we go to get basted? What state is that even in?
They're in Missouri, but I do believe you can get a franchise for Getting Basted, and you can become part of their family.
So you can get basted anywhere?
You can get basted anywhere.
Nice.
Nice. And their drivers are hot and fast.
It's a good thing.
It's always a good thing. Also, check out MB Body Works. Review their Facebook page. Just put in MB Body Works. If you have a horse, or know people that have horses, or just think about horses, you know the value of a good equine therapist. Trust your horse or horses to someone who has gone to one of the best universities in the country to receive an equine degree, and then pursue their education further and become a certified equine therapist. Take care of your horse or horses, and if you know anybody that has a horse, or anybody thinking about buying a horse, or anybody that wants to know about a horse, contact MB Body Works on their Facebook page.
Who owns that crazy thing? Who owns MB Body Works?
Marley Hanson.
Yeah.
MB stands for Marley B.
Marley B.
Marley B. Check out her Facebook page, MB Body Works. Even if you just dream about horses. And you want to know about unicorns? That's kind of a horse, I think. Ask her. If you want some of the best music in the world, contact Amy Hendrickson. Amy Hendrickson, it's amyhendricksonmusic.com. amyhendricksonmusic.com. Rob and I first saw Amy Hendrickson as she opened for my hero and Hall of Fame musician, Mr. Leon Russell. I was awestruck by her talent. She's an incredible musician, and more importantly, she's an incredible person. She's become a friend of ours, and I would ask everyone to enjoy her talent. You can find her work at amyhendricksonmusic.com, and her latest album, I think, is Grits and Gold. It can be bought on Amazon, and I don't think Shutterfly, or wherever it is. So, amyhendricksonmusic.com.
That's what you've been hearing at the opening of our show. Amy motherfucking Hendrickson.
That's true. That's The Machine is one of my favorite songs by Amy Hendrickson. Now, what's her name again?
Amy motherfucking Hendrickson.
That's true. If you want to have some of the finest artwork, contact David Ponsler. One of the finest blacksmith artists in the world lives right there in Florida. His work has been in some of the finest museums around the world and featured in international magazines. Review the finest art at PonslerMetalDesign.com. That's PonslerMetalDesign.com. If you want to own a piece of art, contact David. We've got a couple in our house, and I think everyone should have one. And to end out this evening's program, I want to speak of a special lady without whom my wife wouldn't be such the great yogi that she is. If you seek better health, more flexibility, or maybe just need some exercise in your life that fits you, I suggest yoga. You can learn and practice yoga even during the coronavirus. Distance learning is possible. Distance practice, I see all the time. I ask you to learn from the best, one of the best, Terry Morrison. Go to Terry's website at mindfulmotion-yoga.com.
Underscore, not dash.
Uh,
Mindful motion underscore yoga, not dash.
Are you sure?
I'll double check. You just keep talking.
You just double check on Terry now.
I'm doing
But nonetheless, without Terry Morrison, Robin would not be a 500 RYT right now. Robin is great at yoga, and I am so blessed to have a woman who can do what she does right now. Health-wise, flexibility, she's just great. So what is it, honey?
If it's in the middle, it's a dash, right?
That's correct.
It's a dash.
Uh-huh.
I just want to make sure we had it right.
Well, I'm glad you did, because now we have to talk about Terry
Morrison more.
Terry Morrison more, yeah. But anyway, Mindful Motion is the place to learn yoga. Mindfulmotion-yoga.com. Check Terry out. If you did get any of those websites or Facebook page, or if you just want to contact us about equine massage therapy, Amy Hendrickson, David Ponsler, Terry Morrison, or if you just want to get basted, send us an email, bestyouguru@yahoo.com. That does it for this evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed the financial therapy series. One of the things that has always concerned me is how little people understand about their own financial net worth. Each of us could improve, we could do better, but we got to know how. Money's a tool, not an end. So thank you for joining us. Our next discussion will be Thursday, August 28th at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. My hope for you is you receive everything you deserve.